16.3% of Illinois residents live below the poverty line. This translates to roughly 1.9 million people. An estimated 889,000 children in Illinois, or roughly 22.4%, live in poverty. This is higher than the national average of 16.8%. Explore the harsh realities of poverty in Illinois' major cities. 10. Waukegan. The poverty rate in Waukegan sits at 19% as of 2022, exceeding the national average of 12.6%. This means that over 13,300 residents in Waukegan live below the poverty line. While definitive data can vary, sources like the Illinois Kids Count Data Center suggest a concerning rate of child poverty in Waukegan. Estimates suggest that over 19% of children under 18 in the city live in poverty. This translates to hundreds of children facing economic hardship. While the overall poverty rate in Waukegan hovers around 20%, the numbers for Black and Hispanic residents are significantly higher. Black residents face a poverty rate exceeding 35%, while Hispanic residents experience rates over 30%. Conversely, the poverty rate for white residents is considerably lower, at around 10%. This stark contrast highlights the racial gap in economic well-being within Waukegan. 9. Aurora. Aurora, with a population exceeding 198,000, is the second largest city in the Chicago metropolitan area. While often portrayed as a growing and vibrant community, Aurora also grapples with a significant issue: poverty. According to the U.S. Census Bureau 2022, Aurora's overall poverty rate sits at 20.2%. The poverty rate for white residents in Aurora hovered around 7.8%, whereas Black residents faced a poverty rate exceeding 28.3%, and Hispanic residents confronted a poverty rate of nearly 22.1%. According to the Alice Report by the United Way of Chicago 2023, 22% of children in Aurora live in low-income households. This translates to roughly 18,423 children struggling to afford basic necessities, like housing, food, healthcare, childcare, and transportation on their family's income. 8. Cicero. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau 2023 paints a concerning picture. The overall poverty rate in Cicero sits at around 21.5%. However, Hispanic residents make up a significant portion of the population, 62.2%, face a poverty rate exceeding 30%. In contrast, the non-Hispanic white population experiences a much lower rate, below 10%. This racial gap highlights the uneven distribution of economic opportunities and resources in Cicero. In Cicero, over 30% of children under 18 live in poverty, a rate significantly higher than the national average of 16.8%. Poverty rates can vary within Cicero. Certain neighborhoods might experience even higher concentrations of child poverty. 7. Joliet. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau paints a concerning picture. The overall poverty rate in Joliet sits at 22.7%. However, Black residents experience a poverty rate exceeding 40%, while the rate for white residents is around 12%. This vast disparity highlights the uneven distribution of economic opportunities and resources across racial groups. According to the latest data available, which may come from sources like the U.S. Census Bureau or American Community Survey, the exact child poverty rate in Joliet is unavailable. However, estimates suggest a troubling reality. Illinois Kids Count reports that in Will County, where Joliet is located, 21.3% of children under 18 live in poverty. This paints a concerning picture, especially considering Joliet is the county's largest city. 6. Springfield. According to the U.S. Census Bureau 2023, 23.7% of Springfield residents live below the poverty line. This translates to roughly 23,052 people struggling financially. American Community Survey 2023, an estimated 24.3% of children in Springfield live in poverty. This translates to roughly 8,100 children struggling to meet basic needs. This rate is higher than the national average of 16.8%. Black residents face a significantly higher poverty rate exceeding 28.5%. White residents have a poverty rate closer to the national average, around 11.8%. 5. Decatur. According to the U.S. Census Bureau 2023, Decatur's poverty rate sits at 24.5%. This means nearly 1 in 5 residents live below the poverty line, which is significantly higher than the national average of 12.6%. This means that roughly 19,470 residents in Decatur live below the poverty line. Poverty can affect individuals and families across all age groups, with some demographics facing a higher burden. An estimated 27% of children under 18 in Decatur live in poverty. This is significantly higher than the national average of 16.8% for children, and even higher than the Illinois average of 11.8%. Black residents in Decatur face a poverty rate of 29.2%, significantly higher than the rate for white residents at 9.3%. 4. Peoria. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Peoria's poverty rate sits at 24.7%. This means nearly 1 in 5 Peoria residents lives below the poverty line. The poverty rate for black residents in Peoria was a staggering 34.4%, compared to only 9.9% for white residents. This immense gap highlights the uneven distribution of economic opportunities and resources across racial groups. Roughly 29.8% of children in Peoria live in poverty. This translates to approximately 16,372 children struggling to meet their basic needs. 3. East St. Louis. The burden of poverty falls heavily on black residents, while data collection methods can vary. The U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey indicates that in 2022, over 99% of East St. Louis residents were black, and the median household income was a mere fraction of the national average. The poverty rate in East St. Louis sits at a staggering 25.6% as of 2022. This means that over 1/3 of the city's residents live below the poverty line. This rate is more than double the national average of 12.6%, and significantly higher than the Illinois state average of 11.8%. East St. Louis has a child poverty rate exceeding 38%, meaning well over 1/3 of children under 18 live in poverty. 2. Rockford. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the overall poverty rate in Rockford sits around 28%. However, this rate disproportionately affects black residents. Black residents in Rockford have a poverty rate exceeding 40%, more than double the rate for white residents. This disparity highlights the uneven distribution of economic opportunities and resources across racial groups. According to the Annie Casey Foundation's Kids Count data center, an estimated 28.1% of children in Rockford live in poverty. This translates to roughly 13,380 children struggling to meet their basic needs. 1. Chicago. According to the U.S. Census Bureau 2022, 29.9% of Chicago's residents live below the poverty line. This translates to roughly 582,385 people struggling to meet their basic needs for food, housing, and healthcare. According to the Annie Casey Foundation's Kids Count Data Center 2022, a staggering 28.4% of children in Chicago live in poverty. This translates to roughly 238,000 children struggling to meet their basic needs. This rate is considerably higher than the national average of 16.8%. Black residents have a poverty rate exceeding 28%, while Latino residents face a rate around 22%. In stark contrast, the poverty rate for white residents hovers around 7%. This significant disparity reveals a deeply entrenched pattern of economic disadvantage for minority communities.